like fall over my eyes, you know. So this is a little more complicated. Once you get your adjustment, a really good way to know if your head weight is on correctly, and I know they'll tell you, put it in the center, but sometimes there's little tweaks that you just need that will make your treatment that much more effective. So this is on my left-hand side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to close my eyes, and I'm going to test to see if my body's happy with this on this side. So I'm going to do this, and I'm falling over to the left. So I'm going to turn my head weight a little bit over to the right. So the opposite way in which I'm falling. I'm going to do it again. So, and I keep wanting to go to the left, so I'm going to do it a little bit more. So it's almost center over my head. And the reason why it changes every day is because your body changes every day. You know, you can't treat your body the same because it's never the same. I'm going to do it one more time. So
you're using your left foot, so we should do our left foot.
You can do left or right.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, so this one is, and then I'm going to do the other foot too. So let's see. So, okay, so I'm following a little bit. And so you just kind of play around. And whichever one is the strongest. So the one I just did was the strongest for me. So I'm going to do it one more time. So let's see. And also the carpet's kind of throwing me off. And then I'm going to do it over here, actually. So anyway, so you're gonna test. So that's good. And then test. So that's good. So where my head weight is right now. So again, I'll just demonstrate. I'll pretend I'm faking it. So okay, so one more time. I do this, and I start to fall this way. So I'm going to do it opposite end a little bit, and then test again. And if I'm perfect, then that's good. Okay. So that's a way you can self-test yourself. Okay, so when you do your head weights, and this is what I was telling you yesterday, Brittany, when you're in the office, this is how you can test to see how long you need to do your head weight for, like what your body is best at doing. So you're going to grab a pulse ox. You're going to put on your finger. And let's say I look at my finger and my oxygen saturation is 98%. So my oxygen is 98 and my pulse is 75. So I'm like, okay, that's great. 98, 75. So I'm going to start walking. I'm going to go forward. And then I'm going to go back. And about every 30 seconds, I'm going to check my pulse ox. Oh great, my oxygen is still at 98, and my pulse is still at about 75, 78.
What if it's below 98 to begin with?
So if your oxygen starts off at like 95, then just base it off that number. So let's say, okay, I've been walking for about, let's say, 7 minutes. Check my pulse ox, and I see my oxygen is starting to go down. So instead of it being 98, it's now at 95. You're done.
So the number is, there's no special number, it's just...
So wherever you started at, so let's say you started at 95, and your oxygen dropped to 92. Okay. So if it drops 3 points, you're done. Your body is like done, because you're stressing it out now, and so it's going into stress mode.
Are those expensive?
Pulse ox? I think the cheaper ones are like $150, and the more expensive ones are like $300.
Expensive. That's why they removed them from there, because the kids were playing with them. I don't see them over there as much.
Because the doctor's car's office, I don't know if he has one.
Yeah.
Or we won't even be doing this day.
Just ask them and say, hey, do you have a pulse ox I can borrow? And just say.
We'll be doing this at home, won't we? Or not?
Well, that's a great question. So in the office, you put the pulse ox on, and let's say, your oxygen dropped 3 points at 12 minutes. Then for that time at home, you're going to do your head weights for 12 minutes. And then the next time you're in the office, let's say you could do it for like 14 minutes. Then at home you're going to do it for 14 minutes until you work up to 15. And then once you get to 15 and your body is stable at 15, then you're good. Then you can do your head weight for 15 minutes at home all the time. So the oxygen is 3 points. If it decreases 3 points, let's say you start at 95 and your oxygen goes up to like 98, great, that's excellent. Your body's doing really well, and it's strengthening well, and it's happy. Now with your pulse, if your pulse starts to go down, that's fine because your body's relaxing. If it goes up 10 points, so let's say I started 75, and all of a sudden, and you'll see it will start to go up pretty quickly. it'll go like 75, 76, 77, 78. And if it goes up 10 points, then your body's done. Like, you're stressing out. So, so that is headaches.
So you walk forward and then you walk backward. You just walk forward and backward.
Yeah.
What about at home?
At home?
Same?
At home you can do forward and backwards until, like, you...
He told me at home to do more balancing type things, just balancing on one foot and another.
I would say once you can walk comfortably for 15 minutes, then start doing balancing. And like, I would say walk until you can do 15 minutes comfortably, and then march. So you want to do opposite arm and opposite leg marching on the same spot. Make sure lots of people will start to move back. That's really bad. So you want to just kind of stay on the same spot and just march. And make sure opposite arm, opposite leg. A lot of people, especially if you have severe neurological issues, people are going to start doing this. And that's not very good bilateral neurological patterning. So,
are we supposed to be using that all the time?
You always want this on.
Why doesn't he have us do it in the office? He told us not to.
So you always want this on, especially in the beginning of treatment. And it's not
always want on when you're walking, right?
Yeah, always. Always when you have your head weights on, you have your clavicle brace on.
How tight do you want that?
Sorry?
How tight do you want this on you?
It's pretty loose on me. So you don't want to.
It's not supposed to be pulling you back or anything else.
Okay.
It's just, it's fairly. I don't know before that. It's fairly loose.
Yeah, that is really loose. Okay,
So
I had mine like pulled super tight for a while.
Everybody thinks it's to help you pull your shoulders back or something.
You know, and I think it is. It's to help promote proper body mechanics, but not to the point where it's forcing you. You know, it's just preventing you from doing this. So always clavicle brace, always head weight, and then so let's say you can walk comfortably, and you do that for 15 minutes, and then the next day you'll probably walk for maybe like 2 minutes until you're comfortable. Then you want to start marching, you know, and then once you're comfortable marching for a few days, you know, you can do that for like 5 minutes. You're gonna get pretty tired pretty quickly. Then you want to start doing the balancing, and then you're gonna balance. But you want to make sure when you balance, if you're doing a minute on one side, you have to do a minute on the other side. Yep, so you can't do like 45 seconds and then like a minute. What you can do to further that is if you have a ball, once you've perfected the balancing, so you're not like wallowing around, you're just standing there, grab a ball and toss it from hand to hand. And you're going to toss it from hand to hand. And then once you've perfected that on both sides, tossing from hand to hand, get 2 balls and juggle. And juggle. And then you want to do it the opposite way too. So as many times as you do it this way, you want to do it this way. Does that make sense? Until you've perfected it. So you're not doing this, dropping balls. That's a little extra for you guys, you know. They probably should say.
What are you doing with that?
Dr. Shan says that's her secret sauce. So there you go. So you guys can do that. In the office when you're walking, and then they have those wobble platforms. So that will come after the walking. So once you're okay with walking, then go to the wobble platform and then do that until. How you know that your body is doing it well is, let's say, have you guys ever been on it before? And tell me if I'm confusing you. But when you go on it, you kind of rotate. Have you noticed that? When you rotate, you want to do it the same way backwards. So you want to rotate.
Well, they had us doing it, but then they quit having us do that.
That's because you haven't perfected the walking.
Right.
And so what they had us do when we were doing the wobble board was we would go around in a circle all the way one way and then come back around the other way and go back and forth. Is that right?
And that's right. Yeah, as long as it's equal. So you're going this way equally and that way equal. But how you know that you're done it perfectly is that there's no stickiness. Because you know sometimes when you go on it and you kind of stick, and then it has to be fluid motions where you're going around. You're not doing any of this, you know? Or so smooth and fluid while you're rotating. And then once that's smooth and fluid, and once that is smooth and fluid, then you can start doing the balancing. Balancing first, and then with the ball.
Is that okay?